Okay, welcome back to another one of my very simple introductory videos to how to use Max. We're using Max 8, by the way, and I've set up a patcher already, and I'm just going to review what was covered in class today. A question came up to begin with, and this is a good place to start. Um, MIDI note numbers. How do you figure out what's what? Well, I find the easiest way is rather than having to consult a list, 60 is always going to be middle C. So um, let's say we want something to play 60. I can just put in 60 here and I can create a whole bunch of messages here. Whoops, did not mean to put an M in there. Ah, getting careless. Okay, so start off with this, and let's say I wanted to make just a major scale. 65, 67, 69, and I need two more. Okay, 71 and 72. So if we remember from our um, basic music theory, theory one, major scale has has two whole steps, a half step, so 64 to 65, then three whole steps, and another half step. Okay. Now, you can, to create more notes, you can add um, 12 or subtract 12 from any number to get that note an octave up or an octave down. So another way you could do this is, and this is what I did in class, I just held down Option, click this, it'd be all on Windows, and I put in an object here, minus 12, and then I plugged everything in this first octave in here. Then I don't have to do the math because most of my students will tell you, I think, that when I'm trying to do math on the fly, I'm really bad at it, and I'm not very good at it to begin with. So I can take the 72 out now that I have two octaves, because that would just be the same as 60 now. So I can take these notes now, and if I create, let's review a little bit here. If I create a new object, N for object, and I put in, note out, and if I spell it right, it would help a lot more. Come on. Okay. Note out object so we can send to our MIDI device. If you have multiple MIDI devices, lock the screen. Whoop, sorry. Lock the screen. Double click on Note Out, and you can pick whatever other MIDI device you might have. I'm just using my internal device for this. So, another object. And I'm going to set make note to a velocity of 100, and each note will be a half second long. Connect these up. Remember, your velocity on make note is the far right outlet, and it goes to the center of note out. A lot of people go right to the outer one, take it outer to an outer. That's not always the case. Okay, so we have our um, 60 up through 72, or our middle C, or sorry, 48 actually, because we're subtracting up through 72. You got to be thinking at this point, there must be an easier way to do this and to create a keyboard, and there is. Huzzah. If you hit, no, it's not that. Okay, I have to go up here to sliders. If you go up here to sliders, there's what's called a K slider. And if you select that, you get a little 4-octave keyboard. And you can change the settings on this, and I'll show you that another time. But for now, let's try and keep everything as simple as possible. You could connect this directly to MakeNote. So now we have 4 octaves. If I lock this now, we can now see what note we're playing. So if something doesn't sound right, maybe you put a wrong number in, you can at least see it. So we also have a couple other, while we're on the topic, we also have a couple other types of sliders. One is just a generic slider, which you can get by clicking or typing in just S. You can put as many sliders in as you want, but I don't think we need more than one right now. I can run this into MakeNote, and for those who are too lazy to do their glissandi on the keyboard themselves, there you have it. Okay. It's useful for many other things that we will see later. Probably not so much for that, but that's a very obvious way to get a look at this. And then there's a dial. And we can do the same thing with the dial. So we have some graphical interface controls, and they'll be useful as you do more advanced things. But I want to go back here to our original setup. I'm not going to get rid of those because they're useful. And what I want to do here, I want to create a random music generator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a new object called random. And random is going to have 15 notes, or it can count to 15. Thing is, it's going to count from 0 to 15. In the last video, we talked a bit about how computers count and how we have to be very specific about how we want our counting. Like I set counter to 1 through 8, I think, last time. And that way it starts counting on 1. Well, random starts on 0. So what we're going to do is when random sends out a note, I'm going to put in an integer box here so I can show this. And then I'm going to put in a button. And when I click this button, it's going to give me a random number between 0 and 14. Okay, so that works nice, except that I am somewhat lazy at times. Well, I should have left the button in there. And I don't want to have to keep clicking the mouse, so I'm going to put in a Metro object, set it at 500 milliseconds, and I shall toggle. Okay, so now it will generate this automatically. And I can go about the rest of my day without worrying about carpal tunnel. So the next thing we have to do is figure out a way that notes are going to be selected. If only there was a tool we could use, an object that would allow us to select a specific index number from 0 to 14 and send a bang out a corresponding outlet. Oh, what do you know? There is. Oops, I'm locked still, so. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. So there we go. Now we get 15 outlets. The 15th is for if you have a number that comes in that doesn't match 0 through 14. And we could make use of that later. I'll show you how. So we connect this up here. And then we just go through and make sure you're connecting to the the left inlet. Because otherwise it's going to put the word bang in your message box. Because that's literally what this sends out. That's all it does. It doesn't pass data through. You can't use this to send numbers through it. All you can use it for is a triggering device, which is still very, as you will see, very valuable. Okay. Can make this look a little neater by stretching that out. And now it should randomly generate a melody for us. Okay, so that's very nice, but it's just playing one note after another randomly. Granted, it's all within the C major scale, so it's not probably going to sound too offensive. But it'd be nice if we could put some rests in here. So I'm going to change this from 15 to 16. There. Okay, and if I put a button in here, connect a button to this, we can see it light up when the number 15 comes through. Okay, let's say we want more rests. Well, we can keep changing this number manually in the box, but an easier way might be to put an integer box here, and I know I didn't do this part in class. And I could type in there now, say I want 20 numbers. This will increase the number of random rests that we have in here. Okay, so basically today was more or less a review of what we did on Monday. And we have we've learned a new object here with random. Random will generate numbers 1 through 16, or 0 through 15, sorry. Well, we have 16 in here, so it's 0 through 15. It always starts with 0. So you got to remember that when you do your select under here. And we also looked at some graphic interface design while reviewing all our other things. So probably have another one of these up on Friday. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.